cameras roll. The lawyers talk, but they're taking a toll. The gavel's heavy, the clock ticks slow. We're all stuck here, ain't nowhere to go. Can we move on, get this show on the road? This trial's dragging, it's a heavy load. We're all tuned in, but it's taking too long. Tell me, y'all, can we move on? The YouTubers live, trying to make it fun, with a smile so wide, but we're all done.
Walk away from me.
The drama's thick, the tension's strong, but
Look.
come on
look.
now,
Look
can
how
we
fast
move
you're
along? Can we move on, get this show on the road? This trial's dragging, it's a heavy load. We're all tuned in, but it's taking too long. Tell me, y'all, can we move on? Every sidebar's like another delay. The jury's eyes are begging for a getaway. We're hanging on, but it's wearing thin. Let's wrap it up, let the end begin. Can we move on, get this show on the road? This trial's dragging, it's a heavy load. We're all tuned in, but it's taking too long. Tell me, y'all, can we move on?
Hello, everybody. How are you doing this fine? Whatever the day of the week it is. Let's get back into what we were doing. There were some pretty exciting things going on when we left. Let me pull up Inner City Press. The song is so Nickelback coded. I honestly like that band, and I never really understood what the whole hate and all that was about, really, truly. Like, y'all know y'all were rocking out, going down them dirt roads and everywhere else, wherever else you were going. You know, there was at least one Nickelback song. You would turn it on, you would love it. You'd be like, oh, I don't need Nickelback, but I like this one. Shut up. You like Nickelback. Can we just, it's 2025. Can we just, anyway, y'all know I'm right. Argue with your mother. Don't argue with me. Some things were going on. Look, thank you. Mimi gets it. Y'all can sit here and we still doing that. It wasn't just a phase, I guess. I guess some of y'all still want to be doing that. Okay. All right. Oh, no, not Nickelback. Y'all know it was good. Those songs had the sauce. You know it was good. Okay. So they're back in court. We're doing the, yeah. I want to be great like heaven. I want to be around her. I'm not wrong. I know. Come on, baby, get in. Oh, man, I was getting it. I was going. Oh, no, I never heard Feet Pants. Why weren't we able? Is that one of theirs? Oh, yeah, someday I will. Someday, somehow. That's them? I'll make it all right, but not right now. They are from Canada. They might be part of the Canada CIA. I think everything in Canada is in this Canada CIA. That's one of my tinfoil theories. Anyway, okay. I loved Nickelback. I might do a Nickelback cover. Put suggestions in the chat. And maybe the comments, because the chat don't replay. Okay, so, y'all, a lot of stuff was literally popping right on off. Stuff was popping right on off. Oh, this one's so good. Look at her on the ground. Every time I do it, oh, yeah, I could tear up. Y'all know that's a good one. This was Buck Cherry. You're crazy, baby, your mama. That's Buck Cherry. Okay, So, stuff was popping off last we left off, and I think this is a good one to read because we didn't read it last time. My cat is meowing so loud. She's like, it's like a roaring, screaming even. Like it's echoing. And she like meows. I didn't realize how manipulative the cat is until I heard somebody else's cat meowing. Okay. You know, everybody's cat's got a voice and they like meow exactly to like aggravate you enough to make you get up and do something. Did y'all know that? It's the truth. Okay. This is a good place to pick up because it happened before we actually left for the break, but I just like was ready to go take my break. And so is that the most recent? Yeah, no, we read that one. Okay, this is CNN.com an hour 14 minutes ago, right before we left. If you missed this morning's video, it's up. It has like pretty much the same thumbnail, but there's a different thing in the corner. Okay, Diddy's ex-assistant says staffers found... Right, we did this live. Okay, so Diddy's ex-assistant says staffers found sexually explicit video of Jane on an iPad. Remember that? Jonathan Perez recounted a time at Diddy's house in LA when Diddy's videographer found a video of Jane. Remember, Jane testified for 6 days. She just, poor thing, got off the stand. She hugged Teeny Garagos when she got off the stand. Good for her. That was a move. I think that was actually kind of a boss move, actually, like on further consideration. So recounted a time at Diddy's LA home. This is his former assistant. Now he played the fifth this morning and the judge said, no, you got to, but, he can't be prosecuted for anything he says, but he has to tell the truth. So he's ordered to, but you know, this is the fourth person that's done this. We've done this song and dance before. So he's testifying this morning and he's continuing his testimony right now. This morning, he recounted a time at Diddy's house when Diddy's videographer found a video of Jane on the iPad. Remember that? And she was engaging in an sexual activity with this man, but you could see Diddy on the video. So Jane testified for several days during this trial. She described these hotel nights that she says Diddy orchestrated. This assistant said this morning that there was a video on an iPad that was usually used by Diddy's staff. Diddy could be seen in the background on the video. This assistant said he took the iPad and he told Diddy and Christina Karam, but he told them separately. So he told Christina Karam, then he told Diddy. Excuse me, I had that backwards. He told Diddy, then he told Christina Karam. He testified this morning that Diddy seemed surprised when he told him about the video. So Jonathan Perez goes up to Diddy and he's like, hey, there's a video of Jane, one of your guests, doing some stuff with a guy. And you're in the video, just so you know. I didn't like, I could delete it. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. So Diddy seemed surprised when this employee told him about the video. When this employee told Diddy about the video, he seemed surprised. So then KK, who was actually this guy's like direct boss, you know, there's like, you know, the chain of command or whatever, like she was above him directly, between him and Diddy. Even though he would directly communicate with Diddy, like there's certain things you still need to tell your actual boss first. And this was one, like, next time, give the footage to me directly and I'll figure out what to do. So then about 6 months later, Christina Karam, KK, calls back this employee again, calls him back and says, you know, Remember that tape situation? I need you to walk me through step by step, bit by bit, exactly what happened, exactly what you did, how you found the tape, how you do all of it. I need to know every single detail. Because why? Quote, someone outside the company was talking about the video in some capacity. So there's a recording of that conversation. It was recovered from Christina Karam's phone. And the way they have her phone is they seized it from her in 2024. So this assistant this morning testified that he didn't know he was being recorded on that conversation, and the jury was hearing the recording. Okay, so they heard the recording. Okay, it was kind of confusing to me, at least. Maybe y'all understood it, but to me, it was much more confusing than the Legally Blonde ordeal we went through yesterday. It was not confusing at all, and people wanted to act so confused. Anyway, it was kind of confusing to me before the break. There was this recording. It was like KK and the staffer, and they're talking, and then Fahim gets involved. Well, this article right here kind of does a good job of, I think, kind of explaining, made me understand it better. So this is CNN.com an hour, 9 minutes ago. The jury before the lunch break was hearing a recording. The assistant, who's testifying right now, and Christina Karam, which is Diddy's chief of staff, discuss discovering an sexually explicit video. The jury has heard the recording in which Christina Karam, Diddy's chief of staff, questioned Diddy's assistant, who's testifying right now, Jonathan Perez, about this sexually explicit video of Jane. All of this incident occurred in the LA home. The discussion involved how the video was found. So Christina Karam calls him up and is like, okay, tell me about how you found the video and all that. Christina Karam told the assistant she got a call from someone outside the company talking about the video in some capacity, according to this recording that was heard in court. In the recording, Christina Karam asked the assistant to tell her step by step about what happened when he found the video. Why? Because, quote, an outside person brought up something about it. Perez, the assistant, told Christina Karam on the phone call recording that the jury heard, he can be heard saying he saw the video, and he told Diddy, hey, I found something on the iPad that the staff uses. I can lock it up for you. You can delete it. I just wanted you to make the decision. So he tells that to Diddy. He told Christina Karam on the call that they heard, right there. This is all a recording we're listening to. So he's telling Christina Karam on this recording, Diddy deleted it. So he's retelling Christina Karam what happened 6 months ago with this tape situation. He's like, I told Diddy, he deleted it. So in the recording, the assistant, Jonathan Perez, told the chief of staff, Christina Karam, that he didn't have any other conversations about that video. He also referenced there needing to be an investigation. He testified today that Diddy thought his phone or his data may have been compromised. And then also, quote, KK mentioned that Diddy wanted an investigation to happen regarding the video and how it got on that device. This assistant said he didn't know if an investigation ever actually happened or not. In the recording, that the jury heard today, this assistant can be heard telling Christina Karam he thought the video looked like it was set up or filmed on that iPad. Like he said, it didn't look like, maybe there's a mirror or something going on, because how would Diddy be able to be seen in it? And also Jane, because isn't he usually, I don't know. I don't know. But for some way, look, this is the quote, or this is the passage, or whatever the line it says here. In the recording, Perez, that's the assistant, told Karam, that's KK, the chief of staff, that he thought The video looked like it was actually set up and filmed on that iPad. He said he never spoke to KK about it ever again. But at some point after that, the head of Diddy's security, Fahim Muhammad, asked about it. He asked about the day that the video was found. So this assistant testified that he relayed the same story he told Christina Karam. He said, I told the exact same story to Fahim. He testified today that actually he didn't tell the full story to those two people, to Fahim Muhammad, the chief of staff, the chief of security, nor to Christina Karam, the chief of staff. Perez testified there was another person in the room, Chef K. She was also, or he or they, I don't know who it is, was in the room when the video was found, the video of Jane having a freak off, and Diddy can be seen in it. But this assistant, Perez, he said he didn't mention it to anybody that Chef K was there because he didn't name her in that first account when he first said it, and he just didn't want to raise any red flags. He didn't want to make it more serious than it was, et cetera, et cetera. He was hoping the incident would not become a big thing. Court then took its lunch break, but they're back now. What happened inside the court during the Kanye West visit? Yes, I'm dying to know. After Ye, I love saying his new name, y'all. I do. After Ye arrived at the courthouse where Diddy's trial has been ongoing, court staff quickly jumped into action and prepared for him to come into an overflow room. A source close to Combs, that's Diddy, told CNN that Kanye had been in touch with Diddy's family about possibly attending the trial to show his support. He was stoic as he went through security. He did not say anything, and he kept his sunglasses on as he passed through. Court staff cleared the hallway around one of the courthouse's overflow rooms. A security guard inside that overflow room told CNN he was instructed to clear a whole bench in the back for Kanye and whoever was with him. Kanye eventually went into an overflow room in a different floor, and he sat next to Christian Combs and then left. Get out. Go on out of here. Anyway, the judge 17 minutes ago is back on the bench. Who's on the stand? Again, it is Jonathan Perez, assistant to Diddy from 2021 to 2024. He's still on direct examination. 6 minutes ago, CNN.com. Diddy kept a Gucci pouch filled with substances and money, former assistant testifies. Prosecutor Madison Smizer showed the jury a photo of a Gucci pouch. Jonathan Perez said the pouch belonged to Diddy, and it was typically filled with substances and money. Diddy always had it with him during King nights. Okay, let's go to Inner City Press. 21 minutes ago, they're back, but the jury was not in yet. Your Honor, did you want to address juror number 6? That's Xavier Donaldson, Diddy's lawyer. The judge said no. Like I said, we're doing that after the jury leaves. We can do that another time. And then the prosecutor speaks. After Mr. Perez, we have exhibits to introduce so we can get our summary charts together over the weekend. Okay, so we're going to be arguing, or they're going to be arguing, and we're going to be listening, or reading rather, to some arguments about in order for the next witness to testify, they have to finish this exhibit thing. And this exhibit thing has arguments going on because of it. Diddy's side doesn't want certain things. The government wants certain things, etc. So they're going to be arguing about stuff. But I find that aspect in those exhibits to be interesting because they include text messages, group chats, things like that of the sort. Okay, wait, let me get my gavel. Oh my God, it's dusty. It's disrespectful. Okay. All rise. Court is now in session after a brief lunch recess. United States versus Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. Assistant U.S. Attorney Smizer, you may continue your direct examination. Okay, first question, Mr. Perez. Were you subpoenaed? And do you have an immunity agreement? Yes. Okay. Let me show you this. What is it? It's Mr. Combs's Gucci pouch. What was in the Gucci pouch? Jonathan Perez says substances and money was in the Gucci pouch. Okay. Now we're going to look at some texts. Oh, no, not Robin. It's just Rob. Boo. Okay. Now we're going to do some text messages. Who are these text messages between? Me and Rob. Whoever Rob is. Rob says, will you locate his Gucci pouch in his bathroom? What did you say back? I texted there was no residue and I didn't steal any Addy. LOL. What does that mean, Addy? He said, Adderall. As part of your employment, did you have any role in obtaining substances? He said, a handful of times. I would purchase or grab them from someone outside. So he was kind of more muling, just kind of go between. Who were you getting them for? He said, Diddy. And which substances was it? Cocaine, Zan, and Molly Ann. How'd you pay for those? He said, cash. Where'd you get the cash? He said, security, or I would go to the Gucci pouch. Who in security would you get the cash from? Fahim. What does your text here say? What does it say right here? He said, I texted Fahim, I need $700 for Guido for substances. Okay, next text. I texted, I'm still waiting. Order in the court. Order. TriStar Sport. Woo! I've been waiting a long time for this, y'all. Can we get some clap emojis? Can we just take a moment? Can we call this a celebration? Can we call it a celebration? Can we do something for this? How are we going to celebrate this moment? I'm speechless. Not really. Breaking news. Diddy trial. Alert. TriStar Sports and freaking entertainment mentioned for first time, to my knowledge, in Diddy trial. Robin Greenhill becoming a frequent flyer. We'll just say that. Y'all, if y'all don't know, this is a moment. You got to stop and take in the moment. Okay. You have to stop and take in the moments, or else then what? Okay. Let's look at some texts. Woo! Woo! All right. What about this text? He said, I texted, I'm still waiting for funds from TriStar, Mr. Combs's business manager. Who would you interact with at TriStar? Robin Greenhill. Did you get a FaceTime? She got her answer she wanted and moved right on, huh? I texted Fa, I need 700 for Guido for substances. What about this text? I texted, I'm still waiting for funds from TriStar. I think this appears to be, to me, based on what I'm reading. I don't know. Y'all tell me this is what I'm basing it off of, but it appears to me TriStar is giving him money to reimburse him for drugs. If you're here since the Free Britney movement, put a Free Britney in the chat, y'all. This is something we have been, some people longer than me. It has been a long time coming, waiting for somebody. It's been like people have been almost scared to even mention their names legally or even in the media and stuff. They've been getting the trickling in. I've covered it too. It's trickled in the coverage last couple of years. Okay. Who would you interact with at TriStar? Robin Greenhill. And did you get a FaceTime call from Diddy at Jane's house? A totally new subject. She needed him to say Robin Greenhill. To say that's who. He was waiting for funds to be transferred to him from Robin freaking Greenhill. Lil Rod Jones did say this. Robin Greenhill from TriStar Sports and Entertainment would be the one to wire and transfer the fund. He said it in his lawsuit, innocent until proven guilty. You know, it's all got to work out in court. Okay, next question. Did you get a FaceTime call from Diddy from Jane's house? Yes. He said, I dropped him off at Jane's house with his supplies. Then he called me a couple hours later. How did he appear in the FaceTime? Jonathan said he appeared angry and annoyed. Could you see Jane's face in the FaceTime call? No, she was turned away. Okay. And what did Mr. Combs ask you? For me to say if there had been another female on a trip we had been on. And I said no. Had there been another female on that trip? He said no. How did you react during this FaceTime call? He said pretty normal, I think. And what did you do? He said, well, I told Fahim, the head of security, and KK, the chief of staff, that Mr. Combs was arguing with his guest and that I was going to go pick him up. What is this? He said it's a message between me, Fahim, and Diddy. June 20th, 2024. So the assistant, Diddy, and the chief of security. Security, okay? Not the chief of staff, the chief of security. Okay. What did you do? Right, like so Diddy FaceTime called his assistant. He said, was there a female on the trip? Diddy said no. Jonathan. Jonathan said there really truly wasn't. He said no on the call, but he said there really truly hadn't been anybody on the trip. So how did you react during this FaceTime? He said, I thought I reacted pretty normal during the FaceTime. And then what did you do after that? Well, then I told the chief of security and KK that Diddy was arguing with his guest and I was going to pick him up. Okay, what is this message? That's a message between me, Fahim, and Diddy. So the chief of security, the assistant, and Diddy, June 2024. This is around the time that fight happened with the violence between Jane Doe and Diddy. He wrote in the message to the chief of security and Diddy, need cash for his guest ASAP. Did you know what the money was for? No. Why did you leave working for Mr. Combs? He said to avoid a situation like this. How do you feel about Mr. Combs today? He said, I feel great about him. Same way as when I worked there. No further questions. Brian Steele decides he wants to take his turn today. He said, "Hello, hi, good afternoon, Mr. Perez. Mr. Combs is a motivator." Yes, he is. Have you seen Mr. Combs cry? Let me show you something. Hold on one second. Your Honor, may I hand him a book? You may. So he hands over a book. Brian Steele hands it to the witness. So he looks up from the book and he said, I really honestly, I can't remember if he was crying, but this does remind me that he was upset. Look again, Brian Steele says. He looks again, looks back up. It does not recollect. It does not refresh my recollection. Okay, fine. Next question. You said there was a lot going on. Do you remember the March searches? The searches and seizures? Yes. And you saw the news, right? Yes. Have you been in the bedroom at 2 Star Island? Yes. Have you ever seen any pew-pews up in there? No. Did you ever see him with firearms? Never. I only saw security with the pew-pews. Because he's a man of note, right? And he's like, yeah? Maybe like because he's like famous, like he needs bodyguards. He is a man respected in many fields. Objection. Okay, fine. I'll ask this. Have you worked with other celebrities? Yes. And many of them have security, right? They do. And you mentioned Jane. She was nice to you? And Perez says, the former assistant, yeah, Jane was nice to me. Yeah. Let's go to CNN. There's 3 new updates. 10 minutes ago, ex-assistant talks of getting rugs for Diddy and payment. He testified. He obtained substances for Diddy a handful of times. He got them from someone named Guido and another person named Baby Girl. He would pay for them with cash he got either from Diddy's security or the Gucci pouch or a top drawer. The jury saw a message that, according to prosecutors, they say that this assistant sent to one of Diddy's security guards in February last year. In the message, he said 700 went to Guido. He's testifying under an immunity order outside the presence of the jury. He invoked the Fifth Amendment, triggering an immunity order signed by the judge, and now he's being compelled to testify. He's the 4th witness to testify under immunity. Okay, 4 minutes ago, CNN.com, Perez says, this is the former assistant, that he got a call from Diddy on the night of the 2024 altercation. He said he dropped off items at Jane's house to set up for her night with Diddy on June 18th, 2024. And then he later dropped off Diddy to that same house. A few hours later, Diddy called him on FaceTime and he seemed angry and annoyed, and his voice was raised. Quote, he was asking me to confirm whether or not another female had been on a trip we went on the week prior. And he had told Diddy no. And he thanked him before hanging up. This former assistant testified that he saw Jane on the call, but her back was to the camera, so he did not see her face and she did not speak. He said the entire call lasted about 20 seconds. Remember, Jane is the one who dated him, Diddy, for the same amount of time exactly almost as this person worked for him. 3 minutes ago, CNN.com, former assistant says the last time he talked to Diddy was the day Diddy was arrested. Whoa, that was the last day they talked. The prosecutor, it's Madison Smizer, asked Jonathan Perez why he stopped working for Diddy in September last year. And he said, quote, there was a lot going on personally for Diddy, and there wasn't a lot of communication about what was happening. So I thought it was a good time to leave, hopefully to avoid a situation like this. He testified the last time he talked to Diddy was the day Diddy was arrested. And when asked how he felt about Diddy now, he said, I feel great about him. The same way I felt when I was leaving my employment. He's like, thanks for that recommendation letter. Bye. 2 minutes ago, ex-assistant says he respected Diddy. Prosecutors finished their direct examination of Perez. Defense attorney Brian Steele started his cross-examination by confirming with Perez that he still respects Diddy. He also confirmed that he's seen Diddy sad and cry. That's Diddy's defense. He sometimes cried. Steele asked Perez if he recalls seeing Diddy cry on October 26th, 2023. October 26, 2023. What date was that? Anyway, Brian Steele showed him an exhibit that helped the assistant recall that Diddy was upset that day, but said he didn't remember seeing Diddy cry. He's like, yeah, he was upset, but I can't say I saw him crying. And wasn't he crying yesterday? Thank God the details queens are at it again. Okay. Staffer was, quote, freaked out after stumbling across freak off video, he says, testified today. This is Washington Post and Brannigan. One of Diddy's videographers started screaming and freaking out. Okay, these are details nobody else told us. Started screaming and freaking out in Diddy's private movie theater after he came across a video of Diddy's girlfriend performing S-acts on another man. This happened in 2023, 2 years ago. According to testimony, According to testimony from this former assistant, Jonathan Perez, this videographer, the one who found it originally, was screaming and freaking out. He came across the video on an iPad. Oh my God, they did such a good job foreshadowing that too, because Jane said she was freaked out that someone was going to find the videos because Diddy would put them on iPads and phones that the staff had access to, and he wouldn't lock them. The videographer came across the video on an iPad typically used by staff. The girlfriend, now ex, was the same woman who testified against Diddy earlier this week using the court-approved alias Jane. Diddy was visible in the background of the shot. The former assistant testified that he immediately told Diddy and his chief of staff, Christina Karam, about the video. I actually think he went in the right order. I think he shouldn't have told Christina Karam. I think he should have told Diddy. I think that was right. I think that was right. Perez testified that he immediately told Diddy and his chief of and they foreshadowed it, because then that ended up actually happening. Staff did stumble across it. Christina Karam shortly afterward, this is the chief of staff, told him, maybe up to a few months later, someone outside the company brought up the video in some capacity, like very vague. The jury then heard a recorded phone call in which Christina Karam, KK, pressed Jonathan Perez for details about who else may have seen this video. Any housekeepers, the chef, anything. So she specifically asked about the chef. He testified that he failed to answer KK truthfully or fully that an employee known as Chef K had actually seen the video. He said, I was just trying to diffuse it, like kind of minimize it, I guess. The details, hoping it wasn't going to become a big thing, he said. His testimony has now resumed. The court came back from lunch, hearing more testimony from Jonathan Perez, a personal assistant who worked for Diddy till he got arrested. He's wearing a burgundy suit. and a black shirt and tie. Before the break, he testified about staff being upset to discover a freak-off video involving Diddy and an ex-girlfriend on an iPad. This employee or former employee is here because he was subpoenaed by the government. He was he swiveled back and forth in the chair throughout his testimony. 5 minutes ago, Ann Brannigan, Washington Post, a Gucci pouch Diddy carried with him during King nights, also known as freak-offs, would typically contain cash and substances such as K, Molly, ADDY. His former personal assistant just testified. Prosecutors showed 2 text exchanges between this former assistant and other members of Diddy's staff. In one, hold on, sorry. Okay. In one set of text messages, a coworker told this assistant to grab the Gucci bag. Okay, Rob is the coworker. Grab the Gucci bag and make sure nothing falls out. He said, quote, I zipped it up. He texted no residue and I didn't steal one Addy. In a group chat for Diddy's assistants, he also texts. So it's a group chat. Now we're in the group chat. Here we go. The Diddy assistant group chat, everybody. Won't be long till you share it in a group chat. I've been knowing since 2020. These group chats are no freaking good. They're in the group chat. Well, this is for work. I understand why they are, but I'm just saying, y'all. In a group chat for Diddy's assistants, this one that's on the stand testifying right now said, I found items in the Balenciaga pouch. I found items in the Balenciaga pouch. Ooh. That should never leave the Gucci pouch. Now, I know y'all remember me with that Britney Spears theory I had. She had this mysterious inhaler in 2007, and she was walking around with a white Versace bag the whole year. Britney Spears. She would go out with people. She would do it everywhere you saw her, and that was when she was hanging out with none other than Dallas Austin. Mark it, timestamp it, save it to your clips. I have a theory, and I have since that video. Shout out to you know who, I don't know if he wants to be named, but we'll say my editor. He worked on this theory with me as well. And it was, she was hanging out with Dallas Austin. She only ever had this white Versace purse. And look at this in 2020, year of our Lord, 2007 is the year before she got conserved. Who was her business manager? Now is often referred to as the mastermind behind the conservatorship that allowed her money to be sucked out, allowed her to be, who knows? She said she was sex trafficked. She said the most similar thing that she could think of in the state of California is called trafficking. She said it. And the year before she got put into that legal arrangement that allowed that to happen to her, she was hanging out with Dallas Austin and she was walking around with an inhaler and a white Versace bag. Fact check it. Maybe I'm mistaken. Anyway, in a group chat for Diddy's assistants, the following was texted, quote, I found items in the Balenciaga pouch that should never leave the Gucci pouch. He added a red heart emoji. He clarified in a follow-up text, cocaine. Dang. Busted. Whoa. One new update less than a minute ago, CNN.com. Setting up King nights were personal tasks for Diddy, not part of employment. Okay, right. Defense attorney Brian Steele, okay, they're funny for this, asked Jonathan Perez whether he would sometimes do things of a personal nature for Diddy, even if it wasn't part of his employment. And he said, yeah, I would. He agreed that setting up King nights and purchasing drugs would be classified as personal instead of work related. I think that means it should be. It should be. But okay. Could he? Okay. All right, Brian. He confirmed that it had nothing to do with his work. He didn't believe he was getting paid to do those things. Okay. Less than a minute ago, CNN.com, Diddy's former assistant says Jane seemed like a willing participant in King Nights. Okay, I see where this is going. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Jonathan Perez about his interactions with Jane, one of Diddy's accusers who was in a relationship with him from 2021 to 2024. He confirmed he would help Jane pick out lingerie and heels and dresses. Jane trusted him with his opinion of what to buy, he said. Brian Steele asked Jonathan if Jane ever appeared hesitant to go to a king night, and he said no. He also asked Jonathan to confirm that Jane seemed like a willing participant, and he said yes. And he also said she never seemed upset or unhappy, but like, was he in the king nights or he was just doing the shopping? I mean, I'm sure she did like shopping. If he was in the king nights, we got another issue. We need to start asking a whole new line of questioning. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Wait, why is it showing me all these old tweets? Hold on. What the hell? Okay. Y'all, I'm really struggling. Okay. You called King Nights personal time. This is Brian Steele on the cross-examination. Yes. Mr. Combs works long hours, right? Yes. And because you worked out of his homes, sometimes business and personal got a little mixed up, right? Correct. So setting up a king night, was that business or personal? Personal. And buying substances? I'm not saying you did it often, but that was personal too, right? Right. And buying lingerie for Jane? Personal. Did Jane always appear to you to be a willing participant in the king nights? And then, of course, objection! Objection! But the judge is like, no, you can answer that. Yeah, she seemed to be willing participant. Yeah. A small amount of drugs, just personal use, right? Objection. The judge said, okay, yeah, no, that one's sustained. That one sustained. Okay. Can't answer that. Okay, cool. Can you estimate percentages of your work, business, and personal? He said, I would have to say like 1%. So can you estimate what percentage of the work you did for Diddy was this freak off stuff? He said maybe 1%. And Diddy needed help with everything, like connecting to Bluetooth, right? Yes. He's not very high tech, right? Right. And he was working on an album very hard, wasn't he? Yeah. And you said Mr. Combs and KK were close. Yeah. Oh. Is this a Ghislaine? Are they Ghislaining her? Oh boy. What is this theory of the case? This also could be for the civil suits, right? Because there's so many civil lawsuits against Diddy that say KK was doing something. So it could be for that. I do know that Diddy's team does, they would be smart to try to get this type of information. You said KK and Mr. Combs were close, right? Yes. This is Diddy's lawyer. He asks, but you're not saying it was Esual, right? I am not. It was not Esual. Why would Brian Steele be asking if KK, the chief of staff, had an eschewal relationship with Diddy, y'all. It's just like, I think it's Twitter glitching. Okay. Okay. Brian Steele goes on, Diddy's lawyer. The argument you saw on FaceTime, it was a verbal argument. As you saw it, it wasn't physical, right? Yeah, as I saw it, no, yeah, right, not physical. And you learned it was about jealousy? Yes. And was Jane a very jealous person? Objection. And the judge is like, what? Yeah, what the hell? No. No. Can't ask, was Jane very jealous? One minute ago, Diddy's ex-assistant, this is CNN.com, spent 1% of his employment on Diddy's personal matters, he says. Attorney Brian Steele turned to the former assistant's previous testimony about a staffer finding an iPad at Diddy's LA home. Finding on an iPad, which was a video of Jane in a freak off. So Brian Steele asked if the concern about the video centered on the fact that a personal private S-tape was on a business iPad. And he said, yeah, that's what it was. Definitely that. Yeah. We were concerned. We didn't know it was on the business iPad. It was accident. He estimated he spent about 1% of his time working for Diddy, dealing with personal matters like setting up king nights. We have an update from NBC News. Jane appeared to be a willing participant in king nights, says the witness. Under cross-examination, the witness said he never got the feeling that Jane was unhappy or unwilling participant in the king nights. Jane even asked him for advice on fashion so she could look her best for Diddy. I wonder if it was Fashion Nova. That's what I want to know. Anyway, defense lawyer Brian Steele also got this former assistant to agree with him that these king nights were Diddy's personal non-work time. And that kind of distinction could be key for jurors as they weigh whether Diddy used his resources to run a criminal enterprise. We have a new update from Washington Post and Brannigan. Jonathan Perez was asked by his boss, Diddy, or a coworker, to obtain substances a handful of times during his 3-year employment, including Xan, cocaine, and Molly Ann. He testified today. He would procure these things from individuals by the name of Baby Girl and Guido. The former assistant said he paid for them with cash from Diddy's Gucci bag. Now, we've been introduced a piece of evidence that the Gucci bag has stuff in it for a certain purpose, but the Balenciaga, it's a different purpose. And remember that Prada bags we kept hearing about in the civil suits? Haven't heard about very many Prada bags during this trial. Just things to think about as we move forward into these rugging allegations. I mean, who really knows what you're taking, really, when it just comes out of the Gucci bag? Especially looks like they do get them mixed up from time to time. Anyway, he said he paid for them with cash from Diddy's Gucci bag, security staff, or the top drawer. The government showed a text exchange in which this former assistant reached out to a security worker, Fahim Muhammad, confirming he needed $700 for Guido. Don't forget one stop. Okay. The Independent has stuff about the Kanye visit. Kanye West arrival prompts courthouse chaos. She reports there was this Kelly Rissman reported there was an increased security, court marshals, and journalists who flocked to the overflow room where media and others were watching the hearings on TV screens upon Kanye West's arrival. A court marshal told Rissman that Kanye would be going into the overflow room, but he never appeared. They even guarded the cleared out back bench for the rapper, she said. CNN reports Ye Ye went into a different overflow room and briefly sat next to Christian Combs, one of Diddy's sons, and says that Diddy was then crowded. Ye Ye was then crowded by journalists and he left the courthouse. Ex-assistant says they found sexually explicit video of Jane on an iPad. Testified that a videographer once found footage on an iPad showing Jane, who's Diddy's ex-girlfriend, and another man during an sexual act, with Diddy visible in the background. He reported that he told that to Diddy and to Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Karam, and he said Diddy appeared surprised, and Christina Karam later told him to give such footage in the future directly to her. And this thing about like if it happens again or next time or in the future is strange because it's like she's expecting that to happen again. Like, oh, if that happens again, tell me instead. What? Months later, Christina Karam questioned this staffer, this secure personal assistant, months later about it. A recording of that conversation seized from her phone last year was played in court. Diddy wanted an investigation into that incident. The jury heard the recording of Christina Karam questioning this assistant about finding an S-tape of Jane and another man on a company iPad at Diddy's LA home. Christina Karam said someone outside the company mentioned the video, and I wonder if that was Sly. It was Sly. Threatening for the $10,000. Perez told her that he had shown the video to Diddy, and then Diddy deleted it. Diddy do it, Diddy delete it. Diddy later suspected his data was compromised and he wanted an investigation, though the assistant wasn't sure if an investigation ever occurred. He said the video appeared to be filmed on the iPad and that also Diddy's chef K was present there too, and he didn't mention it initially because he did not want to escalate the situation. 38 minutes ago, ex-assistant talks Diddy's substance use. He said that Diddy did keep cash, cocaine, horse tranquilizers, and, stimulants, also benzodiazepams and Molly Ann. All of those were kept in a Gucci pouch. Okay, so start keeping inventory of which ones get kept where, because I want to know what the Balenciaga pouch has to have in it. Anyway, which he always brought on King nights while traveling. The Gucci pouch. 28 minutes ago, former assistant reveals jaw-dropping reason he stopped working for Diddy. Okay, now they started getting the chat GPT involved in these titles, it seems. Prosecutors asked Perez why he stopped working for Diddy. He said to avoid a situation like this. He responded from the witness stand. He feels great about Diddy, the same way as when he worked there, he added. The last time he spoke to Diddy was when Diddy was arrested in September 16th, 2024. There was a lot going on personally for Mr. Combs, and there wasn't a lot of communication about what was happening. So I thought it was a good time to leave, to hopefully avoid a situation like this. Diddy called ex-assistant on the night of the 2024 altercation. He testified that on June 18th, 2024, he delivered items to Jane's home ahead of her night with Diddy. So this is the night they got into that big knockdown drag out where he slapped her in the shower. Naked in the shower? Yeah, that night. So he dropped off Diddy after. So he goes over there to help set up. Then he goes and drops off Diddy later. Hours later, Diddy called him angrily, asking him to confirm whether another woman had been on a prior trip. He said no. Diddy said thank you and hung up the phone. It was a 20-second call. Jane was in the room for the call, but her back was to the camera. Quote, heads up, him and guest are fighting. I'm about to head back and pick him up. Perez texted, Jonathan Perez, he texted, wait, but his hours were 9 a.m. His hours were 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Yeah, I guess it had to be in the morning. I don't know. When was this? It had to be after. What? This is interesting. Like, did he get picked up? Heads up. Him and Guest are fighting. I'm about to head back and pick him up. The assistant texted the chief of staff, and that's KK, and the chief security guard, Fahim Muhammad. He texted him, I'm going to pick Diddy up. He also told Fahim Diddy wanted him to bring cash. In another group message with Diddy and Fahim, this assistant, Jonathan Perez, wrote he needed $3,500 for his guest, testifying he was referring to Jane. Jane was always a willing SUL participant. She always appeared to be willing participant in King Nights. I don't know how he could know unless he was watching the King Nights. We got a new update from CNN. Former assistant Diddy never told him not to talk about King Nights. Perez confirmed that Diddy and the people close to him never told him not to speak about such things as King Nights or drugs. He confirmed that they only told him to tell the truth. He confirmed that he never saw Diddy strike a woman or anyone else. This is how Kanye West looked as he came into the courthouse. Glitched. Hold on. This is aggravating. I feel like I'm playing whack-a-mole. For those asking how Kanye looked as he came into the courthouse, photo courtesy to Inner City Press from Josh Russell. Shout out to Josh Russell who got this picture for Inner City Press. He also did the cover photo on Narco Drama, the SDNY trial. This is cute. I love them. Okay. And you're about the same age as Jane, aren't you? Yeah. Was Jane a strong and independent woman? This is Diddy's lawyer asking these questions. Yes. And you made purchases in S stores with the company credit card? I did. But you didn't know if Diddy actually paid, right? I don't. Is Diddy turning on Lou Taylor? I don't even listen. I've said it from the beginning. I'm personally biased. If Diddy got a walk for Lou Taylor to go down, I feel like she's even higher up the Hydra. I feel like she's even higher up. I feel like she's responsible for even more. That's my opinion. That's my feelings. And I'm biased. That's my opinion. That's my feelings. That's not facts. Okay. Also, I'm not even sure from a legal perspective if it matters. If this assistant knows whether Diddy pay. In the grand scheme of if a crime is committed, do y'all think one of the elements is like, did the assistant know who paid for it? What does that have to do with anything? You made purchases in S stores with a company card, right? Yeah, but you don't know if Mr. Combs paid? No. Innocent. He must be innocent because the assistant doesn't know if he paid or not, right? You see what I mean? Like what? The hotel was put in your name, right? You had to go set up the room, right? Yes. And if the room was registered as Sean Combs, there might be cameras outside, right? Right. For those asking how Diddy looked as he came into the courtroom, that's him right there. Brian Steele said, Okay. Well, we propose this exhibit. Okay, sidebar song. We propose this exhibit. Objection. Do we need a sidebar? Yeah, there's a number of objections, actually. We probably do need a sidebar. Your Honor. Oh, yeah, we probably do need a sidebar, Your Honor. Okay, the judge says. Got a new update from NBC News.com. Perez said he wanted to avoid any kind of legal entanglement and, oh, wait, he feels great about Combs. He said he left Diddy's company, but harbors absolutely no ill will toward his former boss. He said he wanted to avoid any kind of legal entanglement and thought working for Diddy would put him into such a situation. Last time he spoke with Diddy was the day Diddy was arrested last year. I feel great about him, the same way I did when I was leaving my employment, he said. I'm going to look up VP said accountants always end up paying the price of their clients. Yeah, I know the Enron thing, right? Arthur Anderson. This is why I record everything, sometimes even secret, non-public. I need proof of ish. I ain't going to jail for nobody. Steele is trying to get another truly humble under God moment. Thank you so much, Mary Quinlan, for the 1999 super chat. BJ making this fun and educational. Thank you so much, Raising Me, for the $5 super chat. My cat is only vocal within 12 hours of my daughter having a seizure. Oh, no. Wow. She's like a medical alert cat. Follows her howling as if she's trying to get her to sit down. Oh, my gosh. She's probably, my cat's probably growling at Diddy demons or something. Thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you, Nikki Cox, for gifting a membership. Thank you, Lakia, for TriStar finally being mentioned. There it is. Thank you for that $4.99. Thank you, Jordan, for the $9.99 super chat. For you being on the neck. You called it months ago. I've been trying to tell y'all. Thank you so much for that $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Doree, for 3-star family, for Brit 2. Yes, justice for Brittany. Thank you for that $2. Mama Hen's Catholic teaching. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat t-shirt. I don't know. I certainly wasn't there. It's true. It's true. Thanks so much, Raising Me, for the $5 super chat. I've been with you from day one. Yes, Queen. We not cousins, we sisters. Yes. Love from Renee Marie. Oh, that's a cool, that's a good one. That's a good name. Thank you for that $5 super chat. Thank you, Nikki, for the $5 super chat. Just love you. Thank you for all you do for us. Oh, thank you. Hashtag free Brittany. Shout out to the Detroit cousins. Thank you, Carla, for the $19.99. Carla Turner, literally shedding tears of joy for you. Be extremely proud. Be proud of your extremely hard work to get here. Yeah, it can be done. It can be done. Thank you so much for that $19.99. Thank you, Corinne, for the $9.99. The videographer, Brandon, is the rug mule. Oh, Brendan? Brendan found the freak off tape? Are you sure? He was screaming and freaking out when he saw it. Oh my God, it was probably bad. Thanks so much for the $9.99 super chat. And remember, this video is, if it's the same one as Sly, a big media company has bought it. Remember? But then they didn't release it. Thank you for that $9.99 super chat. That's according to Jane's testimony. I don't know. Thank you so much, Mama Hen. Catholic teaching. By the way, you care too much about others to be a narcissist. Thank you so much for that $1.99 super chat. Thanks so much, No, for the $4.99. I think the government is actually, I do too. That's why I pinned this comment earlier. I think the government is name dropping co-conspirators today. This is the best birthday gift ever. Happy birthday. Justice for Brittany. Investigate Lou Taylor. They're going to put Robin Greenhill. Now, I will say, according to one source, one time I talked to that maybe is close to Brittany, purported to be close to Brittany, but I couldn't know. They said, yeah, Lou Taylor was a witch, but she stayed away from Brittany. The one that was on the ground day to day was Robin, and Robin was a witch. That's what I heard. Now, this person could have been making that up. All right. Take it with a grain of salt. But they were adamant that it was Robin who was there day to day. Robin who gave Brittany her medicine from a pouch. Robin who gave Brittany medicine every day from a pouch. Y'all remember that? Remember whenever people were fussing at me saying, please, not everything is about you and not everything is about Britney Spears. And I was like, actually, it is. Can you put some flowers in the chat? Please. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much to Adam for the $2 super chat. I keep waiting for a link to Brittany. We are getting closer. Maybe. I don't know if it's going to come up. Thanks for the $2. I don't know if it's actually going to come up in this trial, but I do think this does relate to Brittany. But I don't know if it'll come up in this trial, but I think it's all like pulling on a thread. Last time we checked in over here, can we move on? They were doing a sidebar. Did I jinx it with the Can We Move On song? That's the question. Yeah, this is me. I agree. Y'all, this thing is glitching all around, up and down. Maybe it's just because he's getting so many comments. In the matter of Parker versus Alexander, the plaintiff's reply brief filed by Wigdor is a must-read weekend reading for anyone watching Diddy's civil lawsuits. Many are stayed pending the outcome of this appeal. What is it? Oh, right. The Alexander case. Well, what is the issue at issue? Let me see. The Gender Motivated Violence Act. Right. It was amended. I'm just reading this to see if I can get a gist. Created a standalone cause of action. They merely opened the limitations period for sexual assault claims. The district court taking an illogical stance on the two separate statutory schemes. Okay, so does this law apply? All right. Okay, so that's what it is. What is going on here? So it can you use this Gender Motivated Violence Act? You know, they did like a new they did a new law and then they extended the statutory period. Oh God. Come on. There's part 3. So pending the outcome of the Tal Alexander case. Okay, they came back. You may proceed, but without showing this exhibit to the public gallery. Make sure all the screens are turned off. Okay. So these are text messages between Perez, Jonathan Perez, and Jane. So this is what they were just arguing about. Brian Steele, Diddy and them, they wanted to put an exhibit in. But they did a whole sidebar. It lasted 15 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever. The judge said, you can go forward, but do not show this exhibit to anybody in public or the gallery. Make sure all the screens are turned off. Okay. Brian Steele says, These messages are between you and Jane. Remember Jane, anonymous victim, all that alleged. What did you say to her? I said I was setting up a king's night. She was telling me what to get. Okay, question. She's cooperating and setting it up. Here, the chef says he's going to make her avocado toast. She asks for hot tea and honey to go with heart emoji. And you replied? He said, well, I love reacted it. So, yeah. This Twitter is crazy. Okay, I guess that's the most recent. I was setting up a king's night. She was telling me what to get. The chef says he's going to make her avocado toast, and she asks for hot tea and honey to go. Y'all, is the chef getting called as the last witness? The chef says this is a different, or is this Chef K? I don't know. I don't know the genders on these chefs. Chef K could be any. But I don't know if it's the Chef K or a different chef. She is cooperating and setting it up here. Here, the chef says he's making her avocado toast, meaning Jane. And she asks for hot tea and honey to go. And he love reacted. So he's going to, so they got her tea. That's their defense. So she got tea. So she couldn't have been a victim. What the hell? Come on. It's glitching bad, y'all. Okay, 16 seconds ago. And you wrote, oh my God, how did he get this? Soleil. How did he get this? Okay, so this is voluntarily redacted. Oh, I see. I see. Okay. She asks for hot tea and honey to go, and I heart reacted. And you wrote, I wrote, have a good flight and dinner. I want photos of you and the child. I want photos of you and your, so he's saying, okay, send me pics, basically. 24 minutes ago, CNN.com, former assistant says Diddy never told him not to talk about King Knights. He confirmed that Diddy and the people close to him were never told not to speak, or never told him not to speak about things such as the King Knights or the substances. He confirmed that they only told him to tell the truth. He also confirmed that he never saw Diddy strike a woman or anyone else. 4 minutes ago, he says he doesn't know whether the charges for Diddy's personal items were paid off with company funds. He testified that he used his company card to buy personal items for Diddy, like outfits for Jane at SEX stores. So he did use the company card for that. But he testified that he doesn't know whether these charges on the card were paid off with company funds or with Diddy's personal money. Which I don't know who cares about that. Just now, Washington Post, assistant recalls Diddy calling him during the violent date night with Jane. We heard in Jane's previous testimony that Jonathan Perez was the assistant who helped set up her date night with Diddy last year. That date developed into an argument when Jane accused Diddy of taking another woman with him on a trip to Wyoming. So they weren't in Wyoming with a female. according to Jonathan Perez. The couple, Jane and Diddy, then physically fought. Jane testified, after which Diddy allegedly forced her to perform acts on another man in a freak-off. This former assistant is now on the stand, said Diddy called him on FaceTime during the calamitous date. His voice was raised. He looked angry and annoyed. The assistant also saw Jane, but she had her face turned away from the public. She had her face turned away from the camera. According to her testimony, Jane, Diddy had struck her repeatedly during this fight. It seemed like they had been arguing. He testified. Diddy asked him to confirm whether another woman had gone with him to Wyoming, and the assistant said, I let him and Jane know there was not a female on the trip. Are they about to set up TriStar for this and be like, it was, if any money stuff was going on, it was them? Because here's the thing, y'all. I don't think Diddy's been the one in the books and records. I just don't. I do think it has been TriStar. Now, if they're going after financial stuff, that's different, from ST, right? Like wire fraud and things like that. Went to Glassdoor to read review on TriStar. I know it's bad. It's been bad for years. Thank you for that $2. Shout out to the cousins. Angel Clement Guidry. Thank you for the $9.99. BJ did also crazy. I know. It's serious. I mean, listen. Oh, his Rabbits viewers now here? Shout out to Rabbits viewers in the chat. Who is TriStar? I thought you'd never ask. I really thought you'd never ask. TriStar is the name of Diddy's business management firm. So his accountant, this accountant that keeps being mentioned over and over, Robin Greenhill, she works at TriStar. It's owned by a woman named Lou Taylor. Lou Taylor is really good friends, or used to be, with Britney Spears' dad, and it's widely talked about, and it's in public court documents that Lou Taylor helped to set Britney conservatorship up. So then Lou Taylor ends up being, for TriStar Sports and Entertainment, she ends up being basically in charge of all Britney's money, charge of Britney's money through the estate, the conservatorship. They're not responsible for reporting royalties. Can y'all believe that Britney Spears' royalties were never reported to the conservatorship court one time? Royalties. And this is Diddy's business manager is TriStar Sports and Entertainment as well. There's like two women pretty much from what I understand, at the top of this business, Lou Taylor and Robin Greenhill. So TriStar also, just so y'all know, is the company that hired the law firm I was working at and was like, stop making videos about Lou Taylor's conflicts of interest and Britney Spears' conservatorship. And instead of stopping making the videos, I quit. That's TriStar. Yeah, her money. Yeah, that's what it was all about the whole time, in my opinion. Shout out to Rabbit. Shout out to Down the Rabbit Hole News. And all the rabbits in the chat. We are struggling through the glitch. Okay, here we got another one. Another tweet. So Jane wrote to you, he's looking for smoke, and you wrote, coming. Yep. No further questions. Okay, now they're on redirect. The prosecutor says, was getting those things for Jane part of your job? He said, yes. Dang. Well, that just kicked the knees out from underneath Brian. That was actually pretty cool, because Brian gets up, Brian Steele, and he's like, would you consider those personal things? Personal things, getting the Astro, personal, getting the drug, personal, picking out lingerie outfits. Would you consider those to be personal or professional or work related? And he said, personal. And then And then that kind of made it like, oh man, now they're going to be able to separate it out because Diddy's so busy and he works so much, blah, blah, blah. Well, then Madison Smizer gets up and goes, one question, was getting those lingerie items and drugs and all of that part of your job? And remember, you're under oath, and if you lie, you have to, you might face being prosecuted. Was getting those part of your job? And he said, yeah. So it kicks the knees out from underneath, Brian Steele. He did have a nice little moment there with that, but then they just kind of swooped back in and was like, but it was part of your job, right? And he was like, yeah. Okay. Did you ever set up a king night on a vacation? Were you ever on vacation and you set up a king night? No. Okay. We can turn the public screen back on, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you. This item, new hookah. Is that personal? Not necessarily. And what about the baby oil? Personal. But that personal expense was part of your job? Yeah, going to pick it up. That was part of my job. So, wow, good job. That was good. Good job, Smizer. Good job, Smizer. That was really good because look what she did. Hold on. Because you work, wait. You called King Nights personal time, right? Yes. And Mr. Combs works long hours, right? Yeah, this is Diddy's defense. And because you worked out of his home, sometimes business and personal got mixed, right? Because for Diddy, business and personal, it doesn't matter. He might be doing something personal, but this person is working for Diddy. Because you worked out of his homes, sometimes businesses and personal got mixed, right? Correct. And setting up King Nights, was that business or personal? Personal. And buying substances, that was personal too, right? Yeah, personal. And buying lingerie for Jane, personal. And did Jane always appear to be a willing participant? Yeah. Just a small amount of drugs, personal use, sustained. No, you can't ask that. Okay. How much of your work, business, and what percentage of your work was business versus personal? He said maybe 1% of my work was Diddy's personal. But what Diddy's personal is not the same as what his employee's personal is. And the prosecutor, with 2 freaking questions, just absolutely annihilated that argument. She said, was getting those things for Jane part of your job? Yes. Did you ever go on a vacation and you were on vacation and you set up a king night? No. Okay. New hookah. Is that personal? No, not necessarily. Baby oil? Personal. Was it part of your job? Yes. It was part of his job, even though it was personal expense for Diddy. What an expense is has nothing to do with what you're making your employees do. Now, he did say, I didn't understand. TriStar alert. It was TriStar, which designated the woohoo! Order. Hold on. I need my siren. Oh my God. It's such a time as this. Oh, the Lord hid my siren, y'all. Y'all better be happy the Lord hid my siren. Brian Steele. Y'all. I think TriStar is being investigated. I think they're going to be co-defendants or something. And they're trying to dump this off on them. Y'all, I really do. Brian Steele said it was TriStar which designated the payments, not you. Right? Right. Nothing further. Thank you. I could cry. I think Diddy's giving them up. I do too. Mothership. I just read it on Twitter and immediately came to your channel. Whoop, whoop. We got some. Yes, please put some celebration emojis. Where is Anthony Frazier at a time like this? Where is my snacks mom from the Britney rally? Where is my cousin from Louisiana, Brendan? Where's Brennan? Where's GT? Let them go down. I could cry. You're done, TriStar. Albie said TriStar funds once again. Claps, claps, claps. I think you're right. Boom, boom, boom. BJ investigates the web playlist. I'm not always right, but I think I might have been this time, y'all. Y'all think TriStar? Let me make a poll. Let me see if y'all also got the like, is TriStar being investigated? Like, I want to make a poll. Y'all, if Diddy gets off for TriStar to go down, but listen, y'all, TriStar is like, Diddy is over just the Bad Boy franchise, right? Like just the Bad Boy artists and maybe like a couple other people. Think about somebody that had Britney Spears, J-Lo, Aerosmith, Jason Derulo. These are people from different record labels. Jive, she worked with Jive Records, Columbia. She's getting Business Manager of the Year, this, that, all the time. Britney freaking Spears, y'all. I mean, the biggest names and a bunch of them. Okay, let me make my poll. Okay, I did the poll. The poll question is, do you think TriStar at all is being independently investigated in their own investigation? Yes, no, not yet, but feds are on to them. Which one do you think? I just put the poll in the chat. Is he turning on TriStar? Someone told me to watch the live and catch the replay of the earlier testimony later. TriStar is going to fall. TriStar enters the chat. TriStar, nope. TriStar Sports and Entertainment. I got a Lou Taylor playlist y'all could check out. OMFG. They have been mentioned way too many times, and it keeps happening since yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Flowers, flowers. Sonia, thank you, thank you. If you're lost, y'all are going to have to, there's years of videos to catch up on, but shout out. This is a celebration for the people that's been suffering, we've been suffering out here. We've been ignored. They're going to knock Diddy off in jail now. Woo, y'all. TriStar, Vegas, Andrews, TriStar. When I turned 33, I took 33 back. The 333 is our number now. They had it long enough. TriStar. Brian is throwing them under the bus. Brian Steele. I got so excited I didn't even freaking retweet it. Can you even imagine? I was so excited I didn't even retweet that. Hold on. I try to savor these moments, even though sometimes I forget to. TriStar, which designated the payments, not you, right? Bitch. Huh. And also, she manages the Prince estate, and, that estate has had issues for a long time. And in fact and indeed, Lou Taylor's finances at the TriStar Sports and Entertainment over there and how she was handling people's money is exactly what she wanted me to stop talking about. Because she was taking money from celebrities that she managed, at least Britney, and investing it through using her own investment firm. So she would take her own fees already, her own money she was taking, and then she would also invest their money in her own investment firm. And it was called Stonebridge Investment Council. Justin Bieber, he's another one. Yep. Justin Bieber was also under Lou for a bit. He's apparently out from under her now. All the Kardashians and Jenners, from what I know, it's the Kris for sure, Kylie, that $600 million Coty sale, the Kylie Cosmetics Coty thing. Lou Taylor, I believe, was involved in that. Okay, they're back 3 minutes ago. We moved to introduce these exhibits under seal. And they did. I don't know what the exhibits are under seal, y'all, but Brian freaking Steele mic dropped, okay? He was on my nerves. He was on my nerves. He does get on my nerves, okay? But what I got to tell you, I could buy him at least a drink, at the bar or something. For the last freaking question on a Friday, the last question of his cross-examination, it was TriStar which designated these payments, not Diddy or you, right? Right. Nothing further. Judge wanted to see the attorneys at sidebar. The government moved to introduce some exhibits under seal. The judge granted it, but they're under seal. Jurors can leave for the weekend, don't talk or read about this case. Yeah, right. And the judge said on juror number 6, under the Fazio case, the district court had broad discretion. In the morning, when we addressed this juror number 6 issue, I said, based on the record, I wasn't sure an inquiry was needed. Well, during the breaks, I looked at the transcript from the robing room and from voir dire. There is not evidence of bias. The juror indicated he moved to New Jersey with his girlfriend. It may not be permanent, but has been for the past few weeks. That was initially. There was a long break to confer. When the juror returned, the court asked, and he said he's in New York 4 to 5 days a week. We got a new update from CNN 4 minutes ago. Ex-assistant says his job included doing personal things for Diddy. Madison Smizer is now questioning Jonathan Perez on redirect. She asked whether getting items for Jane and the freak-offs was part of his job. Was your title personal assistant or business assistant? Personal assistant. He confirmed that his job included doing personal things for Diddy, such as writing cards and buying gifts and flowers for his girlfriends. He previously testified he only spent about 1% of his time working for Diddy dealing with personal matters. He also testified that KK, the chief of staff, Christina Karam, told him to set up for the King Nights. He confirmed that he did not set them up for free, that it was part of his job, and that he never set them up when he was on vacation. Okay, we read that one. Okay, so we have a few new updates from Washington Post. 19 minutes ago, Jonathan Perez said he was told to pick up his boss from a date night that went terribly wrong last year. He also was told to bring a large sum of cash for Diddy's girlfriend. Need 3,500 cash ASAP for his guest. He wrote in a text shown to the jury. I'm going to take it to her. The account corroborates Jane's previous testimony that after Diddy physically assaulted her, which it was a fight that she acknowledged she instigated, he called an adult film actor to her house for a freak off. Jane said that she protested and alleged that Diddy made her let the man in and give her an EX pill and ordered her to perform acts on this person. 15 minutes ago, quote, there was a lot going on personally for Mr. Combs, not a lot of communication about what was happening. He told the jury of the events in September when Diddy was arrested and he quit as an assistant. He said, I thought it was a good time to leave to hopefully avoid a situation like this. He said he still feels great about his former boss, same way I felt when I was leaving my employment. He has noted that he is testifying under a subpoena against his wishes. He has also received an order of immunity in exchange for his honest testimony. He cannot be charged for actions such as purchasing drugs that he did for Diddy. 10 minutes ago, Ann Brannigan, former Diddy assistant Jonathan Perez is being cross-examined by the defense. He agreed that setting up and cleaning hotel rooms for his boss's freak-offs were personal tasks, not professional ones, but he confirmed that he didn't think he was paid for doing them. Defense attorney Brian Steele suggested Perez did them because you're a professional, you're courteous. Perez agreed. He also told the defense that the events he described to prosecutors earlier in the afternoon, like setting up freak-offs, obtaining drugs, managing staff crisis, when Diddy's videographer stumbled onto a group SEX video, that only made up about 1% of the work he did for Diddy. He was also helping him set up Bluetooth. Okay. 9 minutes ago, Jane took an active role in planning King Night outings. She was not just a willing participant in King Nights, but also helped coordinate them. She enjoyed wearing Tom Ford shorts and underwear during these getaways and made sure to visit a salon to make sure her hair was in the best shape. Well, she did say that because he had like certain expectations of what she needed to look like. Perez said during cross-examination by the defense. End of the day, jurors going home. The judge said, thank you for your time during this long week, and thank you for your attention. It was a long week, and we appreciate it. Do not speak about the case with anyone. The Independent 52 minutes ago said only 1% of assistant duties were personal. He classified his personal duties as setting up King Nights, buying substances and lingerie for Jane. He also said he would help Diddy with setting up Bluetooth connection because he wasn't very high tech. But according to testimony, he was high other things, perhaps as a kite. According to testimony, I don't know, I wasn't there. Let's see if they're still in here. In the robing room, he said that his daughter lived in New Jersey, and then he said in the Bronx with his aunt. In the voir dire, he said he lived with his girlfriend who lives in New Jersey. These are inconsistencies. And there's more in the U.S.'s letter. Are we about to get a juror removed as the last thing that happens this weekend? 3 minutes ago. Y'all, they caught this juror in some lies. I think he was probably lying because he has certain like residency requirements. Like if you work here, if you need to do certain taxes, you can't live here. And so it's like, you like want your kid to go to school across the river. So you use the aunt's address. I think it might've been something like that, but like they were listening to him in the room. Oh my God, look at this. Hold on, let me get back to it. The Twitter is glitching. The juror will be dismissed. Wow. 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 They done dismissed the first juror. Y'all, they have dismissed a juror. Why? Why was he dismissed? This is why. He indicated, look, this is what the judge said. He said, all right, we've been looking forward to getting to this all day, haven't we? Y'all said it was racism. Now, remember, this judge is not of the Caucasian. Okay. He is of a person of color origin, South Asian in particular, and, American. But this is not somebody that's like, it's not like a 6-pack of white women situation. All right. The judge said, all right, we've been trying to get to this all day since yesterday. Let's go to the Juror 6 issue. In the morning, when we addressed this, I said, based on the record, woo, this judge is freaking good. This is giving grown man energy. He said this morning, if you recall, I said, based on the record, I was not sure an inquiry was needed. Based on the record, I wasn't sure we needed to actually ask any further questions. We all interpreted that to mean, oh, we're not sure an inquiry is actually needed. Like, it might be all right. This juror is going to be able to stay. He said, but during the breaks, I looked at the transcript from the robing room. I also looked at the transcript from voir dire. There's no evidence of bias, racial bias on the behalf of the government. He said, on the other hand, this juror, number 6, indicated he moved to New Jersey with his girlfriend. Maybe not permanently, maybe temporarily. But he has been in New Jersey for the past few weeks. This is a correctional officer as well, y'all. This was initially. He said that was initially. Initially, at first, he said he moved to New Jersey with his girlfriend in the past few weeks. Then, when the juror came back to court, he said he was spending 4 to 5 days a week in New York. Okay, so these two things are inconsistent. I moved to New Jersey, I live there, but now I'm spending 4 to 5 days a week in New York. Well, he is. He is now because he's at court 4 to 5 days a week. But that's not all, the judge said. Then in the robing room, back when they were having them super secret meetings, he was asked again, and he said his daughter lived in New Jersey. But then he changed his answer to the Bronx with his aunt. But also he said in voir dire, he lives with his girlfriend who lives in New Jersey. These are all inconsistencies. And there's more in the U.S. super secret, we can't see it, not in the docket letter. The judge said, the court does not feel further inquiry is required. The reason we have alternate jurors is if questions exactly like this arise. Where there is a question like this, the removal of a juror is required. The juror will be dismissed. He should not return on Monday. The 6-pack is 6-packing. CC said, yep, literally just trying to be on the jury. Is he a goon of the Ernie squad? Girl, thanks so much, Diamond Rainbow, for the $2 super chat. BJ deserves her flowers. Y'all, check out Diamond's link in the chat below. She's been modding for weeks. Thank you, Average Supreme, for the $10 super chat. Currently driving across the state to see my bestie for the weekend. Thank you for all your hard work on the case and for keeping me company on the drive. Shout out to you. Have a good weekend. Thank you, Average is Supreme, for that $10 super chat. Thank you, Sarah, for the $9.99. It's beer 30. Best Friday the 13th ever. Woohoo! Beer 30. Thank you, Sarah Dean, for the $9.99. Thank you, Mama Hens Catholic Teaching, for the $1.99. Is the judge protecting TriStar? No, I don't think so. I think he just needed to ask him about something. Thank you for the $1.99. Thank you for the $1.99, a super chat, Natalie. But it'll be Mama Hen Catholic Teaching. That'll be on the transcripts. I bet Rabbit will be doing them soon. Thank you for the $1.99, Natalie Anderson. Thank you, C. Lena, for the €249. The bus is coming in hot on TriStar. Thank you so much, New Life Plan, for the $49.99, because she came for you and my sweet Brit, and you shouldn't try to dim what light is left in the world. Period. Tell them. Thank you for the $49.99. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Jennifer, for the $3.33. Yeah, I took it back. Thank you for that. Thank you, New Life Plan, for the $9.99. Thank you so much. Lots of speculation that the Bieber catalog was sold well under fair market value too, compared to his contemporaries who appraised that catalog. I mean, there's apparently some documentaries out that I need to watch and catch up on. I haven't had time to do much else. Thank you so much for the $9.99 New Life Plan and that $49.99. Thank you, Giggle Garage, for the $49.99. It took me a good 10 minutes to figure out how to do this. Super chat newbie. Hold on. You are a true inspiration on how to live your truth. Looks like all your hard decisions are about to pay off. Thank you for all you do and for being you. Thank you so much for that. It definitely feels like we've turned a new leaf and we're in a new chapter. Maybe, I don't want to get my hopes up. Thank you, Brandy, for the $5 super chat. You cash this and wipe your tears of effing joy. 2025, the year hard work paying off. Oh, thank God. So proud of you. God bless. And the mods. Shout out to the mods. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Whisper Ledbetter. Narcissists often accuse autistic people's behavior as narcissism because if they were exhibiting our behaviors, it would be for manipulation. Oh, you're right. I could see that. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Thank you, Corey. Shout out to you becoming a member. Thank you, Irk, for the $7.99 Australian. If juror was a plant, surely they know now to shut up. It's so true. Thank you for that $7.99. Let's see if they're still in here arguing. I want him to say Robin's name again. Give me one last little treat. Okay, the juror will be dismissed. Okay, it's not up for debate. But here comes Xavier Donaldson, the one who came and met Kanye Ye in the court today, the one who came down to the lobby to meet Ye and bring him up. It was this lawyer right here. Let me make a record for the appeal. We didn't want an inquiry because it might have a chilling effect. It is very, very common to have a girlfriend in New Jersey or vice versa. He should have been allowed to explain himself. These jurors have been attentive. I'm concerned that the court is equating inconsistencies with lying or hiding something from the court. If you bring him out here, we can come to some soft understanding. Oh, some sort of understanding. He has come here every day. I've been in this court 25 or 30 years. There have been issues with representation of African American and Hispanic jurors in this district. We have taken a step back with this jury, and now we're taking a step backward. Oh, we have taken a step with this jury forward, and now we're taking a step backward. Some say Black and Hispanic jurors don't answer the call, and he did. Yeah, that's a great point, Xavier Donaldson. What on earth would motivate this man to not say, I'm in New Jersey. I got to drive back and forth. I don't want to pay that toll to come into the city. I live in New Jersey, really, most of the time. He's getting on the train and bus, and he's coming. Anything from the government? They said I have nothing to add to your Honor's ruling. You already ruled. Why would I add? Mr. Donaldson is suggesting we make the decision here based on race, but the focus here is on the integrity of the proceeding. The alternative. Oh! She said, I have nothing to add to your honor's ruling, because he already ruled, but she does have something to add, so she adds it. Mr. Donaldson is suggesting that we make a decision based on race. He's the one suggesting we make a decision on race. That's not what I'm doing. He's saying because he's black, he should stay on. That's not what I'm doing. I'm saying the focus is on the integrity of the proceeding. The alternates have also been showing up on time. Shade. This juror must be being late because he's traveling in from New Jersey every day. And he's been lying. He's also lied about other stuff. He said, where does his girlfriend live? Where does this person live? That person live? It doesn't add up. None of it. The girl was, where's the daughter live? Where's the girlfriend live? Where does he live? None of it's adding up. And why were they asking if KK and Diddy have a sexual relationship? Are they just slaying her? Is she another co-conspirator? Alleged? We have an update from NBC. Juror thrown off the panel. A juror was dismissed from the panel after he allegedly gave conflicting answers about where he lives. He had given different answers to questions about where he primarily lives, either in New York or across the Hudson River in New Jersey with his girlfriend. Earlier in the day, the judge had said he was leaning against dismissing the juror. He said there's likely an innocent explanation for all of this. But by the end of the day, the judge said actually, there were, quote, serious questions about his candor and his ability to follow instructions. Those are reasons for cause with nothing to do with race. And again, y'all, this is like the first person of his race on the federal court. I think I remember reading he's the first South Asian judge in the Southern District. So I don't think this is the guy that's going to be like, yes, let's do racist things all over the place. Listen, I don't know. Anybody can be racist against anybody, but it's not quite as easy to say that whenever it's the, quote, six-pack of white women. And they've been trying to say this was a racist trial from the beginning. They also, I believe, did this in the 90s and it worked. But I don't think there was videos of everything like there were this time. And maybe there was. The judge said, no, cut it out. Cut it out. In voir dire, he said he lives in the Bronx with his fiance and daughter. There's no reason to lie, but to try to get on the jury. The judge is like, you're not making this record make it seem like it's racism, buddy. The longer and more that you push me in this open court, I'm going to snap back. I already told you there was more in the letter, and I used discretion. But now you want to say there's issues with representation of African American and Hispanic jurors in the district. Some say the Black and Hispanic jurors don't answer the call, and he did. We've taken a step forward with this jury because now Xavier Donaldson is allowed to say he wants a race-based jury. It's supposed to be not based on race at all. So actually, I agree with the prosecutor for saying, he's suggesting we make a decision based on somebody's race instead of like the truth. That's weird. Also, my focus is the integrity of the proceeding, and this mother is late every day. Okay. The alternates ain't late. We need to get this done by July 4th. Do we not? This man's coming in and back and forth from New Jersey every day. Why? In voir dire, the judge piles on. He said, I live in the Bronx with his fiance and daughter. He said there is no reason for him to have lied in that instance other than to try to get on the jury, Xavier. Play with your mama, don't play with me. Then, not bad enough. Then on colloquy, he said he just moved to New Jersey, adding that his daughter had been living in New Jersey. So how is it during voir dire 1 month ago, he lived in the Bronx with his daughter, but now his daughter has been living in New Jersey? How many daughters does he have? One. So no, miss me with it. Appeal on something else, buddy. He said, the judge goes on, all my bills go to the Bronx. That is because he wanted to be on the jury. After the break, he actually spends more of his time in the Bronx, which is flatly inconsistent with what he previously said. The juror is shading answers to stay on the jury, Xavier. I see it. You can act like you don't. Since we're making records of things, no problem, buddy. I'll make one of my own. Huh. In voir dire, he said he lives in the Bronx with his fiance and daughter. Judge said there's no reason to lie but for him to try to be getting onto the jury. Then, when we called him back in, he said he just moved to New Jersey and his daughter had been living in New Jersey for already. He said all my bills go to the Bronx. It's that he wanted to stay on the jury. After the break, he says he actually spends more time in the Bronx. So that's flatly different than all my bills go to, look, it started out, I live in the Bronx. I live in the Bronx is what he said at first. I live in the Bronx with my fiance and daughter. Then he changed his story. He just moved to New Jersey and his daughter also has been living in New Jersey. So these two in and of themselves, these two statements are inconsistent. Then later, he said actually just all my bills go to the Bronx because he wanted to be on the jury. After the break, he said something freaking different. He said now not all my bills go to the Bronx. They probably started investigating to see where his bills go. Then he changed the story again. And now it's just I spend most of my time in the Bronx. So it went from I live there with my fiance and daughter all the way down to, oh, I just spend time there. And he probably does spend most of his time here because he's doing this jury service. This was a liar. I'm glad he's off the jury. I'm actually very suspicious as to why Diddy was trying so hard to keep him on the jury. I can't wait to find out on Monday if it's the one everybody's been, saying is the Diddy fan. Three minutes ago, Washington Post Ann Brannigan, and they're still in court arguing right now, y'all, so I ain't going anywhere yet. Jonathan Perez never saw Diddy strike a woman or anyone during his 3 years as the producer's assistant, he said under cross-examination. He agreed with Brian Steele that Diddy dated many women at the same time, but he said he didn't hear Jane argue with Diddy about other women. The defense tried to paint Jane as an extremely jealous woman who was less upset about her freak-offs with Diddy than she was about his relationships with other women. Look at Ye. Look at Ye. Security guard needs to wash that shirt. Juror thrown off the jury. Good. He needed to be. I would have kicked his butt off too. He lied. He lied to be on the jury. He lied. He said he lived in the Bronx. He lived in the Bronx with his fiance and daughter. Then come to find out the daughter and the fiance actually live in New Jersey. Then he was like, yeah, but all my bills go to the Bronx. No, he works at a correctional facility and he had to lie and say he lived in New York. But he should have just said, I don't want to be on the jury. He should have made something. I don't know. Very strange that he wanted to be on this jury like this. Maybe he just didn't want to go back to work. The defense shows texts between, we already saw that, I think. No, we didn't. Okay. 23 minutes ago, defense shows texts between the former assistant and Jane. Brian Steele presented the jury with a selection of text messages between the rapper's ex-assistant, Jonathan Perez, and Jane. The messages were different. The messages were from different times during Perez's employment with Diddy and contained discussions about King nights. In some of the texts, the pair planned for the events. They discussed items Jane would need and tasks Perez needed to finish for her and Diddy. Steele asked Perez to confirm to the jury that Jane doesn't appear to be upset in the messages. Now, you know what I think is really interesting? I think this juror actually might have kind of a little bit sort of shown some bias or even maybe perjured himself because he's not this juror, excuse me, this witness, because he said Diddy never told him not to discuss freak offs with other people. Diddy never told him, nobody ever told him not to discuss king nights and all of this. But it's like, wait, hold on. Diddy made everybody sign an NDA, right? Who worked for him? You mean to tell me you never... Yeah. Back to work. Yeah, your body don't live here. Thank you. Back to work. Go back to work. That is crazy that they were able to find that out. And it was because he snitched on his own self. Stupid. Juror removed. Let's see if we get more information from The Independent. A juror has been dismissed from the jury because he reportedly gave conflicting information about where he lives. The juror gave different answers about his primary residence, reportedly saying he lives both in New York and New Jersey with his girlfriend. This caused concerns for the judge. The judge initially seemed reluctant to dismiss the juror. He assumed there was a reasonable explanation for the discrepancy. But by the end of the day, he changed his mind because there were serious questions about the juror's candor and his ability to follow instructions. I think that's the other issue, is that he was getting there late. I think he was making everybody be late. Okay, so we're doing racism arguments because if somebody's black or Hispanic, they should be allowed to lie in the voir dire process while they promise not to lie. Got it. Okay, got it. That's where we live now. That's the clown world that Donaldson is proposing that we live in. Now, look, listen, Donaldson, I cannot disagree with him. He is right that there have been issues. There have been race issues of juries, but the way to fix that is not letting liars on juries. That's not the way to fix it. I'm open to suggestions of other ways, but the judge said, look, he said, all my bills go to the Bronx. That was a lie. It's that he wanted to be on the jury. After the break, he changed that answer. He said he actually spends more of his time in the Bronx. This is just flatly inconsistent with what he previously said, Xavier. The juror is shading his answers to stay on the jury. That would have got his ass kicked off at the process where we were kicking people off, and it's going to get him kicked off here today. He said that is why this is the right thing. We must move to the alternate. Donaldson said it's going to be a less diverse jury. That is a fact. Well, maybe not. If a woman comes on, is that less diverse? If a woman comes on, like only race counts as diversity now? I don't know. It's very hard to keep up. It's very hard to keep up. I'll tell you that. It's freaking ridiculous because it's going to be a less diverse jury. That is a fact. Seeing what I've seen in this district, it is paramount to get a representative jury. He is right. It is paramount to get a representative jury, but the jury has to be qualified, and you're not qualified to serve on the jury if you lie in the voir dire process. It literally said you're signing the papers with your name on it, and it says if you lie, you can be removed and charged criminally. It's very serious to lie in this stuff, and he's just lying. He lied 4 times today. Please, it's just sick and disgusting because there really is racism and people are really suffering. People do suffer because of their race. And it's like freaking clown show out here. Please, this idiot that lives in New Jersey that's been lying for a month, making everybody late. Jesus. And it makes me just wonder, why are they pushing so hard to keep this guy on? Yeah, it's a diverse jury. More is, if you got one more black person or whatever. But what if this person wants to be on the jury so bad because he wants to vote that Diddy's guilty? How does Xavier Donaldson not know that? Maybe he is. The judge said, I heard you, Mr. Donaldson. The ruling is the ruling. Agnifilo said, I got a new argument. Hail Mary. There was a state case that there's a difference between the principal jurors and the alternate jurors. A state case. The judge is going to laugh at Agnifilo and say, sit down. This ain't state court. Then here comes a turn. Look, they're all going. They're all come here, come. That's Agnifilo. Nope, that didn't work. Here comes Steele. He'll take it now. After weeks of watching these jurors' reactions, now they go back to voir dire. Everybody knew, but no one did anything. Oh, it is a juror that likes Diddy. It's a juror that likes Diddy. That's why you can't be making all those stupid faces, dummies. They do it to themselves. They self-snitch. I need Bruce Rivers, the criminal lawyer, to react to this self-snitch. Okay, I need it. Okay, first they let Xavier Donaldson, and you see what they're doing, right? So Xavier Donaldson, one of the black men, I think he might be the only one. I think there's 2 black men on his team. And how about that, right? I mean, Diddy got 9 attorneys, 8 of them's white. So it's all right for Diddy to have this non-diverse team. Why ain't all his lawyers is black? Since he's Mr. Black King God, it's because sometimes people's more qualified for stuff and race is just maybe like a side point. Nicole Westmoreland, black woman, probably the best one at cross-examination on this team. She could teach Agnifilo several things or 2 or 4 or a few. And she's young. She knows what she's doing and she's good. So we have the black man, Xavier Donaldson, stand up and make the black man comments, right? He's like, I'm going to argue we need diversity of the jury. The judge is like, we do need diversity. That's fine and good. But what about the fact this man lied? And the judge, again, ain't white. All right. Now, is he black? No. And I do understand and acknowledge these are different issues. But y'all, we're not talking about getting into Harvard. The man lied. He was already on the jury. The black man got chosen to be on the jury. He was on it. I bet you he was acting a damn fool. Look. So they have that. Then Agnifilo comes in with his little state law argument. That's not going to work. Here comes Steele from Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County. They bring this up now, Your Honor. They've been knowing about this. Weeks of watching these jurors' reactions. After weeks of watching this jurors' reactions. Now they're going all the way back to voir dire? Everybody knew. No one did anything. At least bring the juror in to potentially explain. But they've already done that, Brian. They already did that. And every time he's explaining, he says a different answer. The judge then, I guess, comes off his ruling and he says, I'll consider all of this. He said, this came up in colloquy this week in an organic way. If the defense already knew this before, that's something else. Ooh. Everybody knew. See, they should have took their lick and kept it moving. Because look at this little thinly veiled right here. Judge said, I'll consider all this. He's very thoughtful and very intelligent. He said, from the way it was told to me, this came up organically this week, just happened to come up. But if the defense already knew about all of this, that's something else. I'm going to thank Mr. Donaldson and Mr. Agnifilo for the issues they raised. If there's a change in my thinking, I'll let you know. I think they might get in trouble for that. What do you mean? What do you mean? That's something else. The judge is annoyed. I'm going to thank, but not Mr. Steele. He didn't thank Mr. Steele. And Mr. Steele's the one who said everybody knew. Wow. Wow. This judge is good. The judge said, he said, all my bills go to the Bronx. That wasn't true. It's that he wanted to be on this jury. Then after the break, he said, oh, actually, I just spend more of my time in the Bronx. This is flatly inconsistent with what he previously said. It was just lies. He's shading his answers to stay on the jury. This is a for cause reason to remove someone. That's why this is the right thing, to move to the alternate. Xavier Donaldson. It's going to be a less diverse jury. That's a fact. Seeing that I've seen what I've seen in this district 25 to 30 years, it's paramount to get a representative jury. Y'all, the jury has to be representative of your peers that lives where the crime is committed. Alleged. You can't just get a representative jury from somewhere that's not representative. It's one of the qualifications. Represents the people of that area. This is a New York court. It has to be representative jury. Particularly in this city. He's saying in this city, we're not in city court. There's people from all over. This is just Southern District Court. Judge said, okay, I've heard you. I've heard you. Juror's still dismissed. Agnifalo's like, oh, I got a Hail Mary. Let me show you this state case real quick. Judge is like, all right, no, but okay, I'll look at it. Then Brian Steele just couldn't help himself. He's like, well, they bringing this up now after weeks of watching these jurors' reactions. So Steele is admitting he also been watching these jurors' reactions. He's also been watching the jurors' reactions. And he's also been knowing. And he didn't bring it up either. Did he have reason to believe there was an impartial juror? Does he have to bring it up? I don't know. I don't know how it works. He said everybody knew. But no one did anything. At least bring in the juror to potentially explain. Judge said, I'll consider all this. I think he is going to bring in the juror because he's going to get him lying again on record. So that when it goes to appeal, it's like just so obvious. The judge said, but while I'm considering all this, I will say, this all came up organically. This all came up organically this week by happenstance. So if the defense knew it before, he didn't say the prosecutor. He didn't say the state. He didn't say, the U.S. attorney. He didn't say the defense. He said if Diddy's lawyers knew this already, quote, that is something else. I'm going to thank Mr. Donaldson and Mr. Agnifalo for the issues they raised. If there's a change in my thinking, I'll let you know. Wow. Now, the assistant U.S. attorney so they're hiding from the public now. Now the judge wants to hide from the public. Now the judge has no reason to be calling a sidebar. A sidebar is for the jury. I'm sick of this secretive stuff. Now, the prosecutor did say, for the record, we had no idea of this, Your Honor. We had no idea. Judge said, all right, let me have the parties at the sidebar. Why? Why? It's aggravating. And I think unconstitutional. I don't know. He does seem smart, but I don't like this secretive shit he does. 3 minutes ago, Anne Brannigan, Jane never seemed to be hesitant about participating in freak-offs or king nights. Jonathan Perez said, did she always appear to you that she was a willing participant? He said, yes. Did Jane appear to you in any way upset or unhappy after the king night? He said, no. Earlier, he testified that he had a good relationship with Jane while he worked for Diddy. Why would this be a sidebar? Yeah, what's so secret now? This fucking idiot. Oh, excuse my language. What are they doing at the sidebar? Somebody needs to tell me. I'm waiting. Why? Why is there a sidebar? What are they doing? Why are they doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Why is there a sidebar? Thanks so much, Rin Izanami, for the $10 super chat. Thank you, Holland, for the $9.99. I read TriStar in the testimony, and I had to come to see your happy, beautiful face. There it is. Great call, cuz. Thanks so much, Holland, for the $9.99. Thank you, Sarah, for the $5 super chat. My one college accounting professor always used to say, CYA, print everything out and save it for your own records and proof, cousin. Yep. Thanks so much for the $5 super chat. TB, shout out to TB in the chat. Thanks so much for the $1.99. Mims, good job on coverage. Yes, shout out to Mims. Agree with your comment. Oh, what did Mims say? Mims in the chat. Shout out to Mims. Thanks so much to Rin for the $20 super chat. You're great. I'm from South Jersey. Thank you so much. From Sicklerville. Shout out to Sicklerville. Please keep up the good work. Provide your light. Thank you so much, Susan, for the $1.99. TriStar is going down. Thanks so much, Janine, for the $9.99. Maybe they are saying TriStar kept him drugged and stout to keep him under control and extort him. It's like maybe TriStar is doing to him what he was doing to Cassie. I mean, look, listen. I say keep going up. Keep going up. Thank you so much for the $9.99. Thank you to Cheer Chris for the $19.99. I found your channels not too long ago and watched most of your BJ Investigates videos. You're an amazing investigative reporter. Thank you. Beauty and Brains. Thank you. Hashtag God's favorite. Thank you so much. And thank you for that $19.99. Taz said maybe he's giving the defense a warning because he's tired of them. More secrets in the courtroom. I know. Shout out to Mims. I love Mims. I go right over there and watch his videos whenever he's trying to be in there when he's live. They have a sensitive matter to discuss. Everyone must leave the courtroom. And the courtroom must be sealed. They're probably going to be talking about Kanye showing up to court. Is everything so secret here? Judge says we have a sensitive matter to discuss. Everyone must leave the courtroom and the courtroom will be sealed. Well, I'm still going to take it as a good day because guess what? The last question on cross-examination today was, and it was TriStar who decided what to build stuff to, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Thank you so much, Nikki, for the $5 super chat. BJ, I hope you have a beautifully blessed weekend. Please try to get some rest this weekend. Can't wait to catch back up on Monday. We will be back on Monday. Shout out to Mims in the chat. Let me see who's over here. That is crazy. That is a crazy, crazy thing. Somebody said he wasn't there to support Diddy. He was there to sit next to Diddy's son and say, "You better shut your mouth up about me and Bianca at that Vegas party." Who knows? Who freaking knows? Just waiting for those last minute, updates and things just to make sure, because we're going to be gone for the weekend. Then what we going to do? Yeah. All right. Well, I guess it's over. Yeah. What's the sensitive matter under seal? Please. Probably talking about TriStar. I hope so. Thanks so much, Talking About, for the $1.99. Yay knows about the Kardashians and TriStar. John Miles can't wait for Monday already. No more secrets. Thank you, Weston. BJ investigate. Was out in like a Robin. TriStar better buckle up. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go watch all my different people. I have y'all redirecting over to Popcorn Planet. It's Kim over there, and then I think after that it'll be It's Kim. So I will see y'all on Monday. Thanks so much for hanging out today. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation and neither are opinions. Love you, meaning. Okay, bye.